Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back into my channel. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about identity access management. So identity architecture design. That's with Microsoft Learn that's with learn.microsoft.com. So identity and access management, IAM architecture provide framework for protecting data and resources, internal networks, establish security boundaries in on-premises system. In cloud environments, perimeters, networks, and firewall aren't sufficient for managing access to apps and data. So instead, public cloud systems rely on identity solution for boundary security. An identity solution control access to an organization, apps, and data. Users, devices, and applications have identities. IAM components support the authentication and authorization of these and other identities. The process of authentication controls who or what uses an account. Authorization control what that user can do in application. So whether you're just starting to evaluate identity solution or looking to expand your current implementation, Azure offers many options. One example is Azure Active Directory, which is Azure AD, a cloud service that provides identity management and access control capabilities. To decide on a solution, start by learning about these service and other Azure component tools and reference architecture. So you see here, the core is the Active Directory, is the Azure Active Directory, which is Azure AD. Here you have business partners. Here you have the devices. Here you have the software as service app, the public cloud, and here you have the on-premises Active Directory, and here you have the on-premises application. So I would say this is pretty an interesting thing that you should come here and just observe this and get to know them yourself. So it's kind of explain the design here to compare certain stuff and best practice and everything. Now, I'd like to jump into a little small slide that I prepare here. So let's say in a scenario you were to design for identity access management. So let's say, for instance, you have this, scenario where the XYZ widget company that manufactures and sells widget across the globe. And so the XYZ is embarking on a journey with the third-party developers to help modernize some workloads for the cloud. So we kind of would say, okay, so now to look at this, so this is just a scenario that we kind of create. Let's say, for instance, you are in a situation where we would do like a scenario, the existing environment, the requirements, and the solution. So like I say, in this scenario, we're going to work with this company, the XYZ widget company that manufactures and sells widgets across the globe. Now, what's really matter in this scenario is the XYZ are embarking on a journey to actually modernize a range of workloads that they want to take some of the applications they have on premises and modernize that for the cloud. So to do so, we get into help from a third-party developer who consult on Azure and has all that experience and can help them to do so. So, all right, so now, like I said, the XYZ, they has a range of application and physical. They have a range of application and physical infrastructure hosted across all their offices. But what's really important is they have a flagship mobile application called Very Creatively. So the XYZ, so say this app, say they had an app, the app is served to the customers globally, and currently they do so using application infrastructure on premises and the identity platform. So that the XYZ uses mobile is currently all custom developed and managed. So locally within the application itself, now what's important is the XYZ, they has a flagship mobile application. So the XYZ mobile, which serve to customer globally, the application infrastructure is currently hosted on premises, and the identity is stored and managed locally within the application itself. Now, guys, some workloads are also hosted within a single Azure subscription. And Azure AD Connect has been configured between the on-premises Active Directory domain services and the Azure and the Azure Active, and the Active Directory domain services and the Azure AD tenants. Now, what are the requirements? What are the requirements? So the widget have all that set up and ready to go. It's time for them to modernize their XYZ mobile application. Let's say the requirement is the XYZ widget would like to modernize the XYZ mobile application using Azure services. Now, this modernization project must support the following. Identity for XYZ mobile must be migrated to a scalable cloud identity platform that supports social identities. And the other requirement is the new identity platform must support local account to minimize disruption to existing locally managed users. It's important. So the application infrastructure will be migrated to the VM and a storage account and private VNet. The other requirement is The XYZ security department has finalized a tailored list of permission that third-party developers should be granted using identities from their own Azure AD tenants. Now, I would like you to take up this and see if you can come up with a solution that would definitely meet the goal of this company. Now, now the solution is I create this little, see if I can find it. I create this, see, bang, bang, bang. So I create this little, I use the escalidro.com to see if I can come up with a solution. Now, if you have a suggestion, you could always suggest me. So the XYZ widget company, they have an Azure AD tenants and some resources. So there's the on-prem, they have their resources on their own on-premises. Now, they also have a subscription, and they have the Active Directory connect to it. So now they can synchronize the identities, but our real focus is on the application. Is this application here? So the XYZ now, we know that what we are going to do is to set up some infrastructure in the subscription and have had a few important considerations around how we provide access to that. And how we provide access to the application is to use an Azure AD Connect from here to here. So what platform might we use? We know we have to get support for local account because of what? Because of we want to minimize disruption when we migrate from the existing users on-premises identity platform. So how might we manage that? Well, we're going to recommend that we use an Azure Active Directory business to tenant. So we have to use on the XYZ company mobile app have to use the Azure Active Directory business to tenant. We know that support locally account, and it also meet all the other requirements we have. So which was support for additional social identities, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, GitHub, and stuff, and so on. So remember, the Azure Active Directory business to C. I mean the Azure. switch back here and see how the name really is. Hold up. Yep. Yeah, so it's the Azure Active Directory B2C deployment plan. So that's what we use. So remember that Azure Active Directory B2C tenant supports a wide variety of identity providers. So whether they are social media, Windows Server Federation, and much more. So, okay, so that's going to meet our goal, but remember the other important aspect of this identity is that we have to use the access management solution. So how do we provide access to our third-party developers? Question mark. Remember that the XYZ security department, they have specified we want to ensure that those developers use their own Azure AD tenant identities. So XYZ Azure AD tenants. So we simply invite them as a guest account using the Azure AD business to business as a guest. So I should add that here as well. Let's say I do this and I do that. So I could say this. Oh, sorry. So this is basically that. Let's erase. So we should use B2B guest account, guest access, I would say maybe. Guest access. And let's just move this over a little bit. Sorry, just that. Yeah, let's just move this. Okay. And then let's just make an arrow from here to there. I'm not too good at this, so I apologize. So, like I said, we simply invite them as a guest account using the Azure AD B2B functionality that ensure that they get single seamless sign-on on our resources. We can configure the access, but they maintain the use of their own identities. Remember, the security department has advised we have some very specified sets of permission we want to provide, guys. So I would recommend in this scenario, we could go and configure a custom role, which I should use that here too as well. Let's see. And let's make this. We should use a custom role. We should use a custom role. And let's make this. Holding custom. So basically, we should use a custom role. So those third-party developers, we can configure, guys, a role-based access control assignment. So that brings this scenario to a close. So there go the answer to this scenario. There we go. And there we go. So then I would say my first solution will be use the Azure AD business, business to business tenant for the XYZ mobile app, mobile identity. The second solution would be use Azure AD business. Oh no, this was business to tenants. I'm sorry. I mean, this was B2C tenant. So this would be business to business for third party solution provider. And the third solution will be use custom role-based access control role for specified permissions. So again, there go the scenario. The scenario is XYZ widgets company that manufactures and sells widgets across the globe. So XYZ is embarked on a journey with a third-party developer to help modernize some workloads for the cloud. So so that's the scenario. Now you got to get to the existing environment. The XYZ widget has a range of applications for physical infrastructure hosted across all their offices. So what's important to know, the XYZ has a flagship mobile application, XYZ Mobile, which serve to customers globally. Application infrastructure is currently hosted on premises, and identity is stored and managed locally within the application itself. So some workloads are also hosted within a single Azure subscription. And Azure AD Connect has been configured between on-premises Active Directory domain services and the Azure AD tenant. So the requirement is the XYZ widget XYZ would like to modernize the XYZ mobile application using Azure services. So this modernization project must support the following. Identity for XYZ mobile must be migrated to a scalable cloud identity platform that supports social identities. The new identity platform must support local account to minimize disruption to existing locally managed users. So application infrastructure will be migrated to VM, a storage account, and private VNet. So the XYZ security department has finalized a tailed list of permission that third-party developer should be granted using identity from their own Azure AD tenants. So the solution is we should use this. Now there go the, I'm sorry. So there go the architecture. Let's see if I can bring this back down. Make this back. Make this up here a little bit. Here's this. So if you have any suggestion of a better architecture, you could reach out to me, leave a comment below. I'll be more than happy to learn from you. I appreciate you. Follow along. Stay tuned for another lab. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.